always music in my house. My parents bought records, had a stereo that, my dad showed me how to use the record player at an early age, and I would listen to their records. And then as I started to develop my own taste, I would, getting my own records. So listening to music has always been a part of my life from my earliest memories. Started playing music, 5th grade, middle school band, playing the trombone. Did that for throughout from middle school through high school and a little bit of college. But in there, at one point I picked up keyboard a little bit. Kind of taught myself how to get around the keyboard. Taught myself how to play by ear and how to learn songs by ear. And then when I was 15, I got the guitar bug and got my first guitar, and then it was just off to the races.
Nice.
And pretty soon after getting, it took a couple of years, but I realized I actually ended up going to college. Got accepted into the music school at James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and within the first few weeks, the first month, say, of my first semester of music school, it dawned on me that, like, wow, I really like playing guitar and singing way more than I like playing trombone or playing a jazz band or orchestra or symphonic band, what have you. And as luck or my terrible habits would provide, I got really sick my first semester of college. I got mono and had to drop out. And by the time I came back in the second semester, by that point I was so far behind in the music program. I was like, I'm okay. I got to figure out something else to study, but I'm just going to keep playing guitar and singing. And when I graduated school, degree in English, I moved to Richmond, Virginia, where I had a few connections with musicians, because that's all I really wanted to do. And my dad, trust me, the conversation where my dad asked me, okay, so what's your plan? I was like, I just want to play in bands forever. And I never really had any big goal in mind of, like, making it in the music business. I was like, I just want to play in bands. I want to play guitar. I want to sing. I want to play in bands. I want to write songs, and that's what I want to do. And that's pretty much what I've done. And I eventually was able to figure out a way to, without a record deal and without, all the sort of traditional channels of and trajectories of a music career, I found a way to support myself with it. And I've been doing it for, like I said, about 14 years now in Nashville. I moved out here in 2006 and got my first gig on Broadway at Layla's that summer. By the summer of 2007, I had enough gigs on Broadway to quit my job slinging burritos. And and ever since then, I was gig economy before that was even a term. I've been self-employed gig economy since 2007, and and it mostly playing music, but also doing the DJ thing that I do. But even that, going back to what I was saying about playing on Broadway and sort of forging my own path, doing my own thing, standing out from what everybody else is doing. And my DJ career, I play all vinyl, and I play all rock and roll for the most part. And you don't find a lot of those vinyl and DJs that are some, terms that people would associate with each other, but rock and roll, like playing, like, I get paid to play rock and roll records in bars. And if you would have told me that 10 years ago, that would be a job of mine, I would have, told you to, jump off a bridge or something. So it's not playing music, but that's also a dream come true to just like, oh, that's your job. That's my job, to show up and play records in a bar. Hell yeah. Let's go. Sign me up. And,
I'll tell you what, Heath, not to cut you off, but just to briefly interject. Again, man, that's a reflection upon the fact that, you're incredibly talented as a musician. You understand music. But a lot of that has to do with you, with the fact that you as a person, you as a personality transcend, just being a musician, just being a DJ. Ultimately at the end of the day, your tastes mirror what I think a lot of people are interested in, but at the same time, it's your personality, and it's the way that, whether it be advertent or inadvertent, of how you promote that particular personality, how you portray that in person, on social media, what have you. Before we started to record today, we were talking about the parallels between wrestling and the music business, and we'll definitely talk more about that later. But yeah, man, right there, that's the dream, man. That is the dream, baby. Is to live the life that you truly want to live on your terms, doing the things that you absolutely love to do. Every time I talk to you, man, I get re-inspired. And there's other things that you've done recently and over the last year or so that have also inspired me. And again, we'll talk more about that in a few moments. But every time I talk to you, man, I get remotivated and re-inspired. So without making this mushy and gushy, baby, without giving you an emotional clubbering, I appreciate it, man. I thank you for doing that.
In public, if you will.
In public, if you will.
Yeah, man. Well, it's live the gimmick, right, baby? I mean,
yes, that's it, man. You're right.
Well, and it's the other thing, and Jim Ross says this all the time, and Steve Austin has said it as well. I mean, the best gimmicks are just you turned up to 11, so in that respect, I said, okay, well, what are the things I like? I like to play guitar, I like to sing, and I love rock and roll music. I love country music. I love soul music. I've got a shit ton of vinyl. Let's go, and I've been able to take all those interests, those loves, those passions, and make a living with it. And, I'm grateful every day, man. I'm grateful every day. And also, so you can't say enough about Nashville as an environment, because I don't think I would be able to do the things I do and make the life I've made anywhere else, anywhere else in the world. And it's just because, how music is such an inherent part of just the fabric of this city and this community. And this is the only place in the world where you can just make music your life and make a living with it.
Nashville, outside. I'm originally from upstate New York, and a few of my favorite cities are Las Vegas. I lived there for 3 years, and I just visited there last year for the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. That's the first time I'd been out there since 2006. And I absolutely miss the vibrancy and the energy and the pulse that city has. When there's a big fight in town, in Vegas, there is absolutely nothing else like it. And anybody that's been there, not just sitting in a casino, but like really getting out there and feeling the town, they know what I'm talking about. But another city that I absolutely have fallen in love with is Nashville, man, because it also has its own unique vibrancy and a pulse, and there's just an energy about it. The fact that I think people always will associate Nashville with country music. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Ton of history there, but Nashville is so much more than just country. just roots Americana. It's a slice of our history. Our history here in the United States lies in, musically anyway, lies in Nashville, man, because it's truly a melting pot of so many different styles and personalities that have come through and have gone on to become some of the biggest acts ever throughout the entire world.
Well, what you're saying it reminds me of a couple of things that I've thought through the years. One, it's not Country Music City, USA. It's Music City, USA. Yes. And you find that out real quick, that it's not all about just country music here in town. Secondly, we're all familiar with the adage, big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
Well, Nashville is where all the big fish from all the small ponds all around the world come. So Nashville isn't the small pond. Nashville is the fucking ocean. And so
sink or swim, baby.
We have the best pickers, the best singers, the best talent in the world come here to try, to make something happen. And not all those pickers and players and singers are just strictly into country music, man. And we've got the best, we got some of the best rock and roll bands. We got some of the best, soul music that's happening in the country and the world right now is coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. Like we said at the onset, Music City, USA for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, when are we going to talk about wrestling?
It's funny you bring that up. I was just about to mention that. So Nashville, obviously known for music, but also Nashville, Memphis, Tennessee, period, very well known for professional wrestling. As a matter of fact, to tie everything into where we started here, talking about you playing at Layla's. Layla's is located next to Tootsie's. And before I ever stepped foot into Nashville, I remember on WCW Monday Nitro, or it might have been at the end of a pay-per-view, a WCW pay-per-view, when Roddy Piper came to WCW. He cut a promo on Hollywood Hogan and talked about him playing bass guitar at Tootsie's Bar and Grill. And for whatever reason, that stuck with me over the years. So that the first time I went to Nashville and I was able to go to Tootsie's, it kind of blew my mind. Because I remember back and I was such a huge Roddy Piper fan and still am. But a ton of wrestling history throughout Tennessee, specifically a lot of NWA history, a lot of Smoky Mountain history. And if I'm not mistaken, that's really the wrestling that you fell in love with growing up. Am I correct?
Well, okay. Well, let's go back to the childhood. And my relationship with wrestling, my very earliest memories of professional wrestling as a kid were, what is this shit that's coming on after the cartoon? Because I just wanted there to be more cartoons. And it's one of the greatest regrets of my life that I didn't get hip to, because I grew up in a town called Danville, Virginia, and it's right on the North Carolina border. So it's Crockett country.
Yes,
Jim Crockett
absolutely.
Promotions. That was what was on my TV screen every Saturday at noon. Mid-Atlantic Wrestling with Bob Caudle and Johnny Weaver, and I would change the channel because I just want to watch more cartoons, and it was noon, and that was when my parents would usually kick me out of the house anyway, and I'd have to go outside and and get some activity in, but also tying into my love of music as a kid, I was a big MTV kid, and we had MTV really early on in my town, probably 81, 82.
Okay.
And I would obsessively watch MTV. I would record it on cassette tapes. I would record it once we got a VCR. I recorded it on videotapes, watch the videos. I knew every every band, every song, every album, every label, and